So I always start with this slide. Anytime I'm doing a presentation, whether it's here, whether it's in Asia, whether it's in Europe, it's a nod to our past. So I'm not sure how many of you are familiar with what's on the screen here, but Blue Mountain Pottery was an employer of many hundreds of people about 3 decades ago, and we were actually birthed out of Blue Mountain Pottery. What we make now is considered high-tech ceramics. Those ceramics are used in underwater sensors, and we sell to about 40 countries worldwide. We've been around for about 36 years, have about 45 employees here in Collingwood. But ceramics, we come from the world of ceramics. If you go to my mother's basement, you'll find more than you ever care to see. Anyways, you can ask her, she's in the front row. So what we do, we make underwater sensors, and sensors are used in lots of different communication devices. So a couple of examples, just to get you on board, is commercial fishing. So commercial fishing boats will go out to sea, and they will use our sensors to know whether their nets are full, to know whether the nets are wide enough. Essentially, these sensors replace traditional cameras. So when you can't see underwater, our imaging sensors create an image for you to be able to know what's happening underwater, especially when it's hundreds of meters underwater. The gray thing on the bottom, that's called a hydrophone. So it's a receiving sensor, something listening, like a microphone. What I got in my hand here. So we built these about a decade ago, and there's about 5 of them that go on this ROV. So this remote operated vehicle is looking for cracks in oil pipelines. It operates at about 1,000 meters below sea level, so all the materials that we had to pick had to withstand that, and it's actually finding cracks or breaks or even something that could cause one of those about 2 meters. That's sort of the resolution that it comes up with. And so trying to mitigate sort of disasters before they happen if you do have leaks. Another way of using our sensors for imaging. So what's in the sensor? So what we make here in Collingwood looks like one of these 3 images. We make about 150 different versions of these, shapes, sizes, colors, formulations, all those things. I think what's interesting is that aside from our friends in the Far East, there's only 9 piezoelectric ceramic plants worldwide, and we're one of them. We're here in Collingwood. What we also do is add something called value-added services. So the ceramic on its own isn't waterproof, and so we can make it waterproof by adding housings, metal housings. We do the epoxy coatings over top. We always use our own ceramics inside, but basically making this something that somebody could plug into their system. Companies that do both the ceramic and the assembly, less than 5 worldwide. Again, pretty cool that we're here in Collingwood. So there's other kinds of sensors that are used to send signals. We call them transducers. These are some examples of some of the ones that we make. We've got about 100 different versions of these as well. What's interesting is over the years, we figured out that our business model was worthwhile because we have Canadian labor. As you know, Canadian labor is a little bit more expensive than a lot of other places in the world. And the way we got around that is by making all of our products customized. So there's a lot of people in the world that make things that come off the shelf. They make them, they stock them, they hope someone's going to buy them, and you can sell it for a little bit cheaper. That didn't work for us. So we went the customized route. Everything we make in our plant here on Stewart Road is 100% customized for our users' applications. That works well for us. Until, on a plane ride about a year ago, I came up with a new line that takes off-the-shelf products, fully customized products, and it marries them together. And I'm calling it First Gen Acoustics. We launched this in about 2 weeks, so you're one of the first people to hear this pitch. And so acoustics, what we do, every system integrator, and what a system integrator does is take acoustic sensors, they have electronics, they have software, They put them all together, it goes on a ship, usually. And they're trying to get something in the water very quickly, usually, just to see if their ideas are gonna work. And then they wanna iterate, and they wanna make it better, they wanna make it more usable, whatever. And so the lead times, normal lead times are 2 to 6 months for us to create these custom sensors. It's a long time for them to be able to get something in the water. So what we did was develop a line of 16 products that they can get in 2 to 4 weeks. And the best part, I think, is that we're using tech to actually make it really user-friendly. So engineer can log on to our website in under 45 seconds, because I fully appreciate the attention span of the young engineers these days. They can actually go through and build their own hydrophone or transducer. And at the end of that 45 seconds, they get a drawing, they get a part number. Have any of you ever built a couch on IKEA? Got a couple of homes. Built a lot of couches on IKEA. That's where this idea came from. So at the end, you get a part number. You know what it is when you go to the store. You say, this is what I want. I want 4 seats. I want the end piece. And this is the version of that for building your own underwater sensor. So this goes live in a couple of weeks. And so these are just screenshots. But we think it's going to make a nice new business model for the company as we're growing. So why Collingwood? A lot of people ask, last time I checked, there's no ocean out there. It's a very large lake, but no ocean, and everything that we make goes into the ocean. So why? Thank you, Instagram, for pulling up all my photos. I don't know if you know, but you can actually surf in the Great Lakes. I started, this is December 22nd of last year. It's very cold, very fun. You can ski, Duntroon Highlands. You hike Osler or Blue Mountain. You can bike up Grey Road 19. Don't recommend it very early in the morning if you've had a couple of beers the night before. However, all of these activities can be done before and after work, and they offer all of my 46 employees a pretty great quality of life. That's why we're here. May of last year, you could both ski and run on the same day. Collingwood, pretty great place. A lot of people ask me what type of inspiration an entrepreneur needs to kind of keep what I call the hamster on the wheel. So a couple of things that I've come across over the years that help me a lot. Top left is communication. So creating technology, creating ideas in isolation. It's tough, so being out there, being able to communicate with people, whether it's your peers, friends, family, anybody, I find that's been very, very useful for me. I'm part of 2 CEO groups, actually. McKay CEO Forums in Toronto, the Innovators Alliance, which is based in Barrie. Having other people that relate to some of the challenges that I have in my job, really helpful. I have all the tech. I have multiple iPads, multiple laptops, phone, the watch, I don't know, Alexas, Googles, whatever. I have found that all the good ideas that I've gotten recently have all come from pen and paper. Funny how that works. And thanks to all that tech, I'm always connected. So airplanes are a funny place where I actually completely disconnect. And some of my ideas, some of the great thinking that I'm able to finally get to comes from being able to disconnect. Last but not least, top right corner is one of the things that made a big impact for myself and the company. A book called Good to Great by Jim Collins. And he comes up with something called the hedgehog theory, where you figure out what you love, what you're good at, and what pays well. And where those intersect is where you achieve a real win. And so any entrepreneurs out there, this is great for life in general. This was a winner for us. Anyways, so that's me, and that's how you find me on Instagram, which I'm on constantly, LinkedIn, or when I'm in town, which is very rarely, at Gibson & Co. So thank you.
Let's see it.